This FM24 tactic in its first season won the Europa Conference League and the Carabao Cup with Aston Villa. It also outscored PSG in the French League 1, also securing promotion with a team that was predicted to finish 10th in the lower league. And I got skeptical, so I did an extra test with the tactic with teams that are predicted to struggle for relegation in the Premier League, and you will be surprised what actually happened to these teams. So we tested this tactic with Aston Villa, AS Monaco, Paris FC, Luton, Sheffield and Everton. Now you need to know that there are three variants for this tactic: the attacking version, the balanced version where you can use against teams that are slightly better than you, and of course the cautious defensive version that you would likely use against teams that are much bigger than you, like the Manchester City or the Real Madrids. So I will break down the tactic in case you want to recreate it in your game, whether you're playing on console or on FM Touch or on FM Mobile. I think it's probably different on FM Mobile. So you can just follow along with the video and then recreate the tactic for yourself. Now, if there are any special tactics you're currently using on Football Manager 2024 that is getting you a lot of goals or helping you overachieve in the game, you can let me know in the comment section as well. Before we continue, let me know the team that you're currently managing on Football Manager so you can actually decide if that team is going to, or if this tactic is going to work really well for your team and the current team that you have. Do let me know in the comments. So we'll start up with Aston Villa then. They did go on to win the Europa Conference League and the Carabao Cup. They finished in the Europa League places, finishing in 6th place. They could have done better in the league, but I think their biggest achievement was winning 2 cup competitions in that time. We'll move over to France then with Paris FC, and they were predicted to finish in 10th place in the league. But due to the fact that they've actually won the league now, that has been updated, so they are predicted to finish in 7th place, but they've already won the league anyway. So it's a massive step for them, and they're going to get into the French League immediately after this in the following season. But I had a pretty unique result with AS Monaco when we went on to test the tactic in the French division. They finished in 2nd place with 76 points, but if you look at the competition stab and then look at how Monaco actually went on to finish the league, they had the highest amount of goals and they scored a lot more than PSG, which is odd because I wonder how that's even possible in this game. The one flaw I noticed in the tactic was that it does concede a lot, so you can see that Monaco actually conceded 41 goals. As much as they scored a lot of goals, they were conceding many. So I did go on to tweak the tactic to create a balanced and cautious version to actually help you contain the amount of goals they actually concede, so you won't just be using the default version and then conceding so many goals as you're scoring. Now I did go on to test out this tactic with Everton, Luton and Sheffield. I picked these 3 teams specifically because Sheffield and Luton are actually predicted to go down, but look at how they went on to finish. They actually didn't get relegated with the tactic as expansive as it was, and as much as it was shipping enough goals, they were able to actually stay in the league. Everton on the other hand has a 6-point deduction from the Premier League, so it was interesting to see how they were going to start with their -6 points and then go all the way up, and they ended up finishing in 10th place. So without wasting any more time, let's just look at the tactic in detail. In case you want to recreate the tactic for yourself, I'm going to show you how to actually tweak the system. I'm going to show you how to use the cautious and the balanced version to actually protect your defense. And without wasting any more time, let's go over the tactic. Now it is a 4-4-2 system with wing backs on support duty and wide midfielders on attack. Now wide midfielders are quite rare in Football Manager 2024 tactics, so in case you need to find players that are suitable for those roles, I will show you how to scout those players. They are not as difficult as it looks out to be. It also has double mezzalas in central midfield. Both mezzalas are on support duty, and it has a poacher on attack and a pressing forward on attack as well. Each of these players have their own internal player instructions, so in case you want to follow along with the video, I'm going to go over every player's instruction and also the team instructions as well. Like I mentioned, there are 3 versions of the tactic: the balanced version for normal teams that you're kind of in the same level with you, or the teams that are on the same level with you, and then of course teams that you're playing against, the bigger teams, the cautious version that you can go ahead and use this for bigger teams like Manchester City and Real Madrid and the likes. So starting with the sweeper keeper, there's only the take fewer risks and tackle harder instructions selected for him. You have wing backs on support duty on both flanks. The wing back on the left has pass it shorter, cross on the byline, shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder and close down more, while the wing back on the right hand side has tackle harder, close down more, shoot less often, cross on the byline and pass it shorter. So just the left side of the wing back is asked to sit narrower. The ball playing defenders are both on defend duty and they have only been asked to pass it shorter. Now both wide midfielders are on support duty and they are the main playmakers in the team. So if you look at the wide midfielder on the right hand side, he has the same instructions as the guy on the left. So he's going to pass it shorter, cross on the byline, dribble more, run wide with the ball, shoot less often, run from position, sit narrower, close down more mark tighter, and tackle harder. It's the same instructions on the left hand side. Now, although you have both Mezzalas on support duty, they're not doing the exact same thing. Now, the Mezzala on the left hand side doesn't have any instructions, but the Mezzala on the right has pass it shorter, take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, tackle harder, and mark tighter. Now, in attack, you have pressing forward on attack duty on the left hand side. He is only asked to take fewer risks, and then you have the poacher, which is the main goal scoring threat, and he has been asked to pass it shorter, run from positions, tackle harder, and mark tight. So team wise, there is the balanced and attacking version, but the attacking version is the default tactic, and the balanced version is the tweak that I made to actually help you play against teams that are on the same level as you. And for this system, we look at the team instructions now. They've been asked to play out of defense and look for the overlap on both flanks while passing into space. They're also going to play low crosses and walk the ball into the box while running at defense. When the team is in possession, during the transition, the team is going to counter press and counter. The goalkeeper is also going to distribute the ball to the fullbacks while throwing the ball long. Now, out of possession, there is a high press and a much higher defensive line. They're also going to play with a much more often trigger press while preventing the short goalkeeper distributions. They're getting stuck in and they're also trapping the opposition outside. Now, this is the same for the default tactic. All you have to do is just change the mentality from balance to attacking, and then you have the default tactic. Now, for the cautious version, I did go on to change the mentality to cautious, and I also dropped the defensive line down from much higher defensive line to a higher defensive line. You could go all the way down to standard, but I feel that there's going to be too much gap between the central midfield and the defenders. That's why I kind of left it on higher defensive line. Those are the two tweaks. Those are the sort of tweaks you can make to actually help your tactic be a bit more cautious, so you're not going to be sitting back too much. It should help you regain some pressing intensity when you're playing against the big teams. Now, I intentionally tested this tactic out with a group of teams that I know might not really do well with the tactic, just to see how the tactic was going to perform in that scenario. I could easily have tested it with PSG and gone on to win the league completely, but that's not really the point of this test. It was actually to make sure that the tactic was good enough to actually help mid-table teams, underdog teams, actually keep their way up in the league or go ahead and win promotion or overachieve somehow. So to some extent, it did do that, but the tactic has its weaknesses, so you do have to be aware how you're actually going to use this tactic for your team. And I think you need to have some extra depth because the intensity of the tactic is quite high. But I will go on to share more football manager tactics like this for you. So if you do enjoy videos like this, do also subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications bell to stay in touch when more football manager tactic videos like this do come out. And I'll see you in the next video.